Hey, Wayne here, and if you follow my channel, you've probably seen my review in the past of the Ride1Up Turris. This is a good little street bike. I'm going to have links down below in case you want to check this bike out. But today, we're going to actually check out the Ride1Up Prodigy. This has a mid-drive motor, larger brakes, front air suspension, a beautiful paint job called Chameleon Gloss, and we're going to check it out right now. Oh, I knew it was going to happen eventually. I want to thank Ride1Up for sending me out the XC Prodigy for review. This model comes in 3 versions. This is the XC, which is a step over with front air suspension. There are 2 others. One's a step through and one's another step over, but those do not have the front air suspension. They have different tires, different saddle. I'll be going over some of those differences a little later in the video. But thanks to Ride1Up for sending this out to me to check it out. It comes in 2 colors, carbon matte, and the one I'm riding is Chameleon Gloss. I really like this Chameleon Gloss paint job. I took pictures and videos of it, both daytime, nighttime. It's kind of hard to capture the true essence of how great this bike looks. But you got to kind of see it in person. But I did my best. I'm going to post some pictures and things up on top here so you can check it out. All right, let's go over some of the specs. For the motor, I'm not sure if I'm saying this right, but it has a Bros TF Sprinter German-made mid-drive motor with 90 Newton meters of torque and can reach a top speed of 28 miles per hour. I was pretty surprised to find out that the motor on this is only 250 watts because it rides just as fast and as powerful as my 750 watt rear hub motors. So I'm guessing it has something to do with it being a mid-drive motor. It has a 30 to 50 mile range. Of course, like all e-bikes and scooters, that's going to depend on your weight, the amount of payload you're putting on the bike, whether you're going uphill, downhill, what kind of terrain you're on, all that good stuff. The battery is a 36 volt, 14 amp hour battery, Samsung cells, and a smart battery monitoring system. The charger is a 36 volt, 2 amp charger with auto shut off. For the pedal assist, it has a sensor, which is a Bros integrated torque sensor. For brakes, it has an impressive Tektro HD M745 4-piston hydraulic brake with 180 millimeter rotors. It has a microshift advent shifter and derailleur. And for gearing, it has a 42T narrow wide alloy chainring. Plus, it has an 11 to 34T Shimano Alivio cassette. The front fork has 120 millimeter of travel, 32 millimeter stanchion diameter with air suspension and hydraulic lockout. Now that is for this model only, the XC. So this bike has an 80 lux front headlight, which is pretty good. Now the display is pretty cool. It's way different from anything else that I own. It's very small, it's like a little cube, little square, but it has a lot of information on it. I'm gonna go through some of it right now, and I'll post images of it up on the screen. Okay, going through the display, you have your time, your trip time, average speed, max speed, odometer, cadence, average cadence, max cadence, power, average power, max power, and range. Okay, I'm going to go over the tires real quick. Now the tires, again, is for this model, the XC model. It has a set of knobby tires from Maxxis called Forecaster. They're 27.5 by 2.35 off-road tires, which is great for street and light trail riding. I thought I'd see how it travels along loose gravel, and with these knobby tires, it seems to be doing pretty darn well. Okay, again, for the XC model only, the saddle is a Cell Royale SRX. I don't think it's the most comfortable saddle in the world, but it'll do out of the box until you can get something better. There's a couple of things I'd like to mention about this bike, and that is, it's not listed anywhere, but taking a closer look at this bike, I could see that it's made for a bike seat dropper post. I've got some pictures here where you can see, starting at the bottom of the seat post, there's a hole that's not being used, and then across from there there's another hole for a cable to go through to go up the stem here, or the frame of the bike here, and then out right here at the top there's another one, and from there you can route your cable for a remote for a dropper post. So I'm going to be adding one to this bike. That'll be a separate video. Make sure you're subscribed and have your notifications on so you can see that when I add that onto this bike, if that's something you're interested in. And keep in mind, I do give things away from time to time, so you might want to subscribe for that too, and make sure your notifications are on. This bike also has dual accessory mounts, so it has like for 2 water bottles, or a water bottle and a pump. There's a lot of things you can add to this bike. So this bike does not have a throttle, meaning you cannot just stop pedaling and throttle and it'll go. You're going to have to pedal to ride this bike. Now you can have the motor off, and then you can go from off to eco, to tour, to sport, and then to boost. So each one giving you a little bit more assistance when you're pedaling. Okay, since this is a bike with a mid-drive motor, it's balanced out a lot better in weight than a rear hub motor e-bike. So this bike, if you do have to use just your own power and none of the bike's power because, say, maybe your battery ran out, this bike is going to be a lot easier to ride like a regular bike. In fact, it feels a lot more like a regular bike that has some assist. So this is a good bike if you're coming from a non-powered bike to an e-bike and you want to make that crossover but not feel like you're cheating. This is a good one to have. Also, being that it's a mid-drive motor with no throttle, you're going to use your gear shifts a lot more, and that's going to be depending on your speed, on your terrain, and on slopes and things like that. So you will switch that a lot more than you will on other bikes that you can just throttle away. You're going to want to even things out between your boost modes and your shifting. When I first took this bike out of the box and I saw the paint job, I wasn't super crazy about it until I got it out in the sun. Then I fell in love with it. In fact, I've seen this paint job on cars before, and I'm not a big fan of it on cars. I don't really like it on cars, but I love the way the paint changes on this bike. Maybe because it has so many curves and things in it, it just looks really, really good. The main color that shows up is green, but depending on your angle and light, it'll go from green to sort of a blue, all the way to a very deep purple. Like that band too, deep purple. Out of the box, I'd say this bike had the least amount of anything that I had to adjust. I didn't have to adjust anything on this bike. In fact, this bike out of the box was just perfect. So Ride1Up doing a great job. I like the brakes, I like the mid-drive motor, I like the weight of this bike, and I like that paint job a lot. So right now I'm in boost mode on my highest gear, and I'm going 22, 23 miles an hour, 26, 27, 28 and a half. So yeah, it gets up there. So this bike is not for anybody that has issues pedaling. If you have issues pedaling, you might want to go for something with a throttle. This bike is for anybody crossing over from a regular bike to an e-bike, and other people that want to get exercise. For that, this is a great bike. If there was anything I was going to change on this bike, it would just be the seat for a little bit added comfort. If this video helps you decide on a bike, please give it a thumbs up, a like. Feel free to subscribe while you're at it and push the notification icon to get notified of all my reviews and giveaways. If this is a bike that you think you might like to have, I'm going to include links down below so you can get it directly from the company. Helps out the channel. I appreciate it. Go grab yourself one. Get out there and ride, and I'll see you on the next one.